course, the most natural translation of mace skill is into any kind of long stick, walking stick, Joe, staff, any kind of long stick work. And in long stick work, anything 3 feet and up, one of the main differences versus, let's say, a 2-foot Cali stick is that there is a lot of work with the stick floating, sliding between the grip. A lot of times when we stab, the hands aren't fixed, but rather one is sliding or both are sliding to get greater power and greater range. So sliding the grip next to climbing is perhaps the most important skill we have. And I'm going to show you one of the most important exercises we can have, what we term a dynamic curl. So, as I said a few pieces back, there would be nothing wrong in performing a definitively Western curl with this mace, right? I could balance it, in which case I have more weight on one side, but it's more easy to manage. I could flute it out to one side and then do a certain number of reps and an equal number with the club in the other side, just so that I would get this unbalanced, asymmetrical strain on my ligaments. Fantastic, awesome. But if I talk about a dynamic curl, what I'm looking to do is start off basically in a curl position. Normally, curling side palm up, opposite side palm down. So I'm maximizing momentum and counterbalance. Perform the curling action, but focusing only on the arm where the weight is. And then as it reaches the top, I'm sliding up. I'm following the contour of the staff and I'm grabbing high. So let's look at this carefully. We're going to have the lifting side, palm up, and the counterbalancing side, palm down. If I was to perform this curl one-handedly, I would have to perform a ton of stabilization. And I'm feeling a lot of work on the inner tendon, which is great. But the simple addition of a finger makes that so much easier, just many times easier. So I'm going to just have my other hand on top as I perform that curl. And now instead of bringing it up to the chest in a horizontal position, I am allowing the weight to come up into a balance. I'm sliding and I'm switching. So now the opposite side is palm up and I would perform that curl again. I could delay it. I could bring it up horizontal as long as possible and then turn at the shoulders. There's no problem with that. And I could work very low. You'll notice your mace will have 2 threaded areas, 1 and 2. And it's fine to limit yourself to that. But if that is too much, if it's too much strain given the weight, I could work higher. Just as a point of comparison, here is my 32 pounder. So if I hold, I can curl 35 pounds, 40 pounds quite comfortably, 15, 20 times with a barbell. But 32 off balance, wow, that's a lot of work. Right? So I will tend to hold just above the thread. If I hold it right at the ball, it's going to be much easier. There's no problem with that either. This is a great manipulation exercise. And you'll see the balance point in the middle becomes far more important with a heavier weight, but also the engagement of my glutes, utilization of my legs, all of that becomes more important as you fatigue. So, when using a lighter weight, I always want to prepare myself with caution, engagement, and technique for the heavier weight that might come. There's nothing wrong with doing this a little bit more, flamboyantly and twirling it and throwing it. But if I talk about weapon application wants to be certain, solid, and comfortable. Confident, ready to work, ready to hit, ready to adapt, ready to block. So I don't do a lot of finger up, twirling, light-handed, chucking in the air, jazz hand kind of work. I like to have it solidly on the body, almost like a military guard doing a rifle drill. And I want to know exactly where it is at all times. But just sliding the grip, and gaining that confidence to ride the momentum, in this case, makes it easier at the top, but puts much more demand on the arm at the bottom. So that much ballyhooed momentum that many Westerners don't like and think makes it easier in this case makes it tougher. You could also, at the bottom of your curl, follow your top grip and switch, and then bring it up inverse. So I'm in my sacrificial sword burial position. I go down, and then as it goes down, I rotate my top grip, rotate my bottom. Pull back up, and switch. So this places a tremendous amount of work and stretch on my bottom wrist, and can be a really good one if I want to work different sides. I can switch grips, I can propeller. It's really up to me how I work it. But I can't emphasize enough the need for a very stable and controlled rotation. I want to be cautious about that coming back to me. Stable, strong, if anything a little bit away from me, so that as it moves, I'm feeling confidence in my grip. If I go to work one-handed twirls, the rule of pinkying up applies. I try to maximize my pinky contact as long as possible, and then when I release, it's the transition grip. A lot of people will be pinkying up here and having no control. That's a blocking range of motion. I want that to be stable as I pass. If I have the flexibility to stay pinky down and to reach, then by all means I'm going to do it. Right? I want to really have good control all the time. When the weight is at the bottom, as flexible as my wrist is, when I go down, because there's less weight here, the counterbalance naturally takes my stick away from me. So it's harder. I have to muscle it in and use momentum to get to it. By comparison, on the other side, the weight takes it down and maximizes the stretch in my wrist. So there's value in having that top weight lead it on both sides. So that is basic sliding and twirling. Again, a manual dexterity drill. The variations are limitless. I can perform it behind my back. Anything I do to gain and grow awareness of the floor and the body and the length of the weapon is fantastic. I just want to see that I'm able to manipulate this with a degree of comfort. I will intuitively start to understand counterbalance, and any motion that I would have combatively will apply here, as we'll see in just a moment.